We live.
We live, baby. Hold on a minute. I got to grab some glasses.
Wes got a hound dog.
Ah.
Peter Peter's in Philadelphia.
Philadelphia. Philadelphia.
Philadelphia. And I was about to say something. I better not. I ain't gonna go there.
He's back.
All right. So yeah. Peter, you obviously fish for a lot of different species. What would you call your favorite species, Peter? It
You
seems like
know,
everything you fish for seems like you got a passion for all of it. But if you had to choose,
fresh
what would
or
it be?
saltwater? Freshwater, I think you know the
Oh,
obvious answer to that. But
well, let's first of all let's hear your first and your second.
all right,
And if you wanna niche it down to fresh and salt, that's fine. I'll leave that up to you.
let's put it this way: my favorite thing to fish for, I'd say no comparison, I guess, is king mackerel. I know it gets a lot of flack because it's not a good eating fish, blah blah blah, so on and so forth. But that was my first thing saltwater wise that I really really put a lot of effort into. And
Now, let me interrupt you. Does
yeah,
that have anything to do with the monetary or the competitive aspect of it?
actually, no, it does not. So I'll backtrack with my how I started kingfishing. I actually started fishing the piers way back when it was actually more of a challenge catching them. And like a lot of the folks that start out, I fished the piers, Long Beach Pier, Ocean Crest Pier.
Now, did you use that technique where you throw the weight out and then you hook your line
That is
to it
correct. Yes.
somehow? Yeah.
Yeah. And like I said, I had my shots. I was one of those guys that actually took 7 years to catch the first king. I caught cobia and a tarpon before I even caught my first king
Hmm.
on the pier. I had opportunities, pylons, misgaffs, breakoffs, that kind of boats cutting me off and everything. But
Yeah.
after several years, there was one day I finally started clicking, getting a roll. It's really not much skill involved with that. It's more so luck, being at the right place, right time, I guess. Or
If you look at the surf fishermen up north, they're very very famous for the stripers, and
yeah,
unfortunately those big migratories they they do come down that far, like a small wave of them sometimes, but most of the time us Carolina guys can't really reach the big migratory stripers from the surf. So our pastimes tends to be pier fishing. And yeah, like you're talking about, like kings, stuff that come close enough to get them from the pier, like the big tarpon, the big kings.
uh, but yeah, I had a blast. Yeah, pier fishing. Met a lot of great folks. Had great times. Drank lots of beers out there.
How does your
And
gear
then
differ from the pier to the boat when it comes
it's
to a big
it's
king?
mostly just one large reel, and that's it. So of course you get your spinning rod with the so-called anchor, that you cast out there, the weight basically to speak of, and then you have a large bait caster. Like the very most, the most common reel at that time was like your pin
Senator,
rods. Exactly. Yeah.
4 aughts.
Yeah. Which is Senator? The 114, I think it is, or 112. I can't recall the model number now, but yeah, so that's a very common reel there. And then from there, things started finally improving overall. And hell, now I don't think that's even the real used in the piers much nowadays.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it wasn't much skill involved. It was more luck, right place, right time. But then it hit a point to where it just started getting too crowded. You're losing piers up and down the coast, and now everyone's starting to fish the same pier. And now,
Yeah. I mean, yeah, they got that one section that's dedicated to king fishing only.
yep,
Yeah.
But, even with that, I mean, you're still limited to what, maybe four per railing there. So, I
it
mean, I don't
depends.
know.
It depends on the pier and such. But it got to the point where it used to be anywhere from 8 to 12, 15 guys, now to 40 guys fishing the end. Of course,
Well, now we got does anybody ever surf fish for kings?
not on purpose, I don't think.
I mean, I think that guys ought to do that. You got your land-based shark fishing guys from the surf, and they're taking drones, they're using kayaks to go drop bait. I mean, yeah, you could totally, utilize those techniques like the shark fishermen do with the drones and the kayaks to kingfish, you would think.
Yeah, I think king fishing from the shore would be great in some locations, while as others not so much. Like Oak Island, not at all. Like Morehead City, you might have times out there where it's pretty decent. Fishing the point out there. But maybe even a Hatter somewhere over there. But anywhere else, not really, is because it's not very many passes. It's kind of shallow, on our surf overall, unless you really, really take your bait way out there. And you got to have a stationary bait that's swimming on the surface to really target them pretty good. So it's kind of hard to do. My
Well,
opinion.
Wes, it's that'd be a real tough question for you. I mean, I've only known you for a few years, and you've already switched species a couple times. That's well, you went from striper freshwater to striper saltwater. Now you're like anything salt. Well, primarily shark. It seems like. Well,
Well,
I don't want to paint a picture for you. What is your favorite species? And what would be your second favorite species to target?
well, I guess like everybody, I really wanted to catch a wahoo. I had a chance one time to catch one, but I'm not going to go into that. Damn.
That'll never get
But,
old. Let me see.
no, I just, striper. Actually, the first fish I like, of course, is catfish. I think everybody starts out either brim fishing or catfishing. And then I started freshwater striper fishing, and then went to the salt. Uh, and then, I like the shark. Like I said, I caught about 145. We're guessing 150-pound tarpon in Alamorado last year. And that tarpon hit. We got it. It was considered a catch. We leadered it. And then I hooked up with 3 spinner sharks after that and couldn't even get them to the boat. They were just jumping the way they jump, watching them turn around, the power, their speed. And I think it was Thomas Talon. Thomas gives me a hard time, but and here's the deal. I mentioned him. I said, tell me one fish in salt water, just one, that can swim as fast. And now I'm talking about do all these things that can swim as fast as a spinner shark, that gets as big as a spinner shark, and can do the acrobatics as a spinner shark, can jump 8, 10, 12 feet in the air and actually not just shake their head, turning complete circles. And they're not really hard to target. And that's the spinner shark. But I do really, and
Those are cool, but I mean, like when it comes to sharks, there's so many different species. Like I don't know when to go target. Like what? Like as far as their seasonal patterns and their forage.
But I am going to go. I'm definitely going to target some more pelagic fish, pelagic, however you want to pronounce that word. I do want a wahoo, and I would say tuna. As far as all the saltwater fish that I've caught, the tarpon, the striper and the tuna.
So you'd rather catch a tuna yellow? Now you would
Well, I'll
rank
tell you, that
you'd rank
wahoo
bluefin ahead of
that
yellowfin.
wahoo that we hooked up on, I don't remember exactly. I didn't check the drag, but that was a smoker. I mean, when that fish hit, it got everybody
Fast.
pitching on the boat.
Very,
I mean,
very,
it
very,
just-
very, very fast.
You can bet your ass I was the first one on that reel because I knew what it was. I beat everybody to it. But
They're so
that's
fast.
what I would like to catch. But a tuna, I caught 116-pound tuna.
Yeah, you did. That was on the trip with Drew, right?
Yeah, and
That y'all took
I
out.
don't-
Where did y'all take that out of?
we left out of Orange Beach in Alabama.
Orange Beach. Yeah, you guys were catching 100-plus-pound class yellowfin tuna.
We caught 13 fish over 100 pounds.
Oh my!
That's
oh.
all I want, dude. Listen, honestly,
Now, what kind of reels?
fish.
What kind of reels were they using on that trip?
Senators. I forgot.
Senators? Are you
What do you call
serious?
It was about that wide, and it had 140-pound tests on it.
Probably internationals.
Internet, baby. Hell, I don't remember.
You meant
I
the
know
big gold
it felt
reels.
like it weighed about 50 pounds when I got it out of the rod holder, and Drew had to
Yeah,
hold my belt.
yeah, those are
I remember
internationals.
that. But that's all I want. I don't want no more fish that big in my life. I don't want to.
Really?
When you hurt me, I don't want nothing.
Let
else
me
to do.
ask you this, Wes: would you have enjoyed it more had it been on spinning gear?
Maybe, but Caleb, the first fish that was caught, we got up about 5:30 that morning, and Caleb come down there in the whatever the front of the boat you call it, where the beds was, and woke me up. He said, "You ready to go fishing?" I said, "Yeah."
Caleb Page?
No, Caleb.
I'm just kidding.
Rankin.
I know.
Yeah. So I get up and I walk up the steps and I look up and I was like, "Damn, we're back on." I thought literally for a minute, you're about half asleep. I thought we had went back to land because this oil rig, it had the whole ocean lit up.
Wow.
And then I remember there might have been 35 or 40 guys leaned up out there. They were all smoking cigarettes, watching us.
This was at night?
It's about 6 o'clock that morning, 5:30, 6 o'clock that morning.
Okay.
Caleb is the first one that hooked up on a tuna, and he was jigging for it, dropping down with a spinning rod.
Yeah.
It took him about 40 minutes to get that tuna in, and it was 70 plus pounds.
Wow.
I don't think I would have enjoyed it no more on the spinning rod. I mean, I just don't want to catch that.
Yeah, once you get up to 100 plus pound class tuna, man, it's yeah. I've never caught one, but I can only imagine.
The power of that fish is just it was just amazing to me.
I have the gear to do it, and the gear has caught lots of fish, amberjacks, kings, but I bought the spinning reels that I have. I bought them for 100-pound class tuna. Never caught one. I would love to test those Quantum Cabo 80s that I have, and the Spin North Sport Fishers. Man, I would love to catch 100-pound tuna on spinning gear. It doesn't get any better than that for me, because anything over 100 pounds, you're flirting with it not being stand-up gear. After you reach 100 pounds, I don't know how much further you guys would want to go and still be in stand-up gear, but not much more than that. I want to be sitting down and have the damn thing in a holder.
And as little as my little buddy Pete is, Pete, have you ever caught 100 plus pound tuna?
I have not. No.
You don't want to either. But hey, listen, hey guys, right quick while I'm thinking about it, Kevin Wallace. I want to make an announcement here for him. I was asked to do this tonight on the show, and also for J.C. Crowder. And y'all don't look at me wearing glasses, but no, I can't read. I'm going blind, so I'm gonna have to wear glasses. So the first person makes a wise comment, I'll block your ass on Facebook.
Hell, let's do it.
I know, yeah.
All right, now this is for Kevin Wallace, and if y'all don't know Kevin Wallace, Kevin is a great guy. I started striper fishing with Kevin about 7 or 8 years ago. Him and Ricky Harkness is some of the first two I striper fish with. But anyway, Kevin is going to be putting on a tournament with Lake Cartwell Outdoor Center. And this, JR, I was thinking about fishing this, and here's what he's got.
Let's do it, man.
If y'all interested, it's going to be the Lake Cartwell Cat Chaser, along with Lake Cartwell Outdoor Centers, are hosting a Black Friday Catfish Slam on Friday, November the 25th of this year. It's going to be an entry fee of $200 per boat, no rod or man limit. This will include big fish. Lines in at 7 a.m., lines out at 3. Weigh-in will be at LHOC, which is Lake Cartwell Outdoor Center, at 4 p.m. that afternoon. This is another two-fish shootout. All anglers must be in sight of or be at Lake Cartwell Outdoor Center by 4 p.m., and fish must be alive to be weighed in, and live wells are very much encouraged. The registration will be open the week of the tournament at Lake Cartwell Outdoor Center, or you can register the morning of at Lake Cartwell Outdoor Center between 5 and 6 a.m. that morning. This is a 100% payback tournament, paying only the top 3 teams, and big fish open invitations are, let's see, wait a minute. And phone's going out. The 100% payback tournament, paying only the top 3 teams and big fish. Open invitations are welcome to come fish the invitations are open for everybody to come fish one of the toughest lakes in the South. Of course, all SCDNR rules will apply. And note, if you choose to pay registration early, you still must come by Lake Cartwell Outdoor Center for a live well check before lines in. The winners will be subject to polygraph. If y'all need any more info on this, you can contact Kevin Wallace. Kevin's a great guy. I think him and Joey Bagwell is going to do this.
Okay, so live well check the morning of.
The morning of before.
Okay, so how far is the Lake Hartwell Outdoor Center from Lake Hartwell?
It's right on this. Well, it depends on what part of the lake you're on. It's right there.
Can you launch at any? Can you launch at any boat ramp in this tournament?
Yes.
Any boat ramp. Okay.
Boat ramp. And but like I said, you got to go by there and let them check your live well.
So it's within like a half an hour, right?
Yeah.
To the outdoor center to the lake. Okay.
Well, there's a lake. There's actually some ramps within a half a mile of Lake Cartwell Outdoor Center.
Oh, that close. Okay.
Yeah, it just depends on what part of the lake you want to fish.
Well, I like that. I like that the weigh-in's going to be at the Lake Hartwell Outdoor Center, Because I mean, the
And,
Lake Hartwell Outdoor
and
Center is
Kevin's
cool.
idea was to make this a very huge, just make this a big event, kind of like the SBC
So
was.
it's $200 a boat, and
Yeah.
how much to get in the big fish pot?
Whatever. They'll
They haven't
probably
decided
like
on the big fish
yeah, be like a side pot for big fish.
pot. Okay. All right. Well,
Be a great tournament.
Yeah, and you have to be back at the Lake Hartwell Outdoor Center by 4:00.
Let's see, no, it's hold on a minute. You got to be back. Wait a minute, that's for JC. Hold on, let me go back to Kevin's.
I'm pretty sure you said by 4 p.m.
Yeah, it says lines in at 7 a.m., lines out at 3, and weigh in is at 4. So this is another 2 fish shootout, and you have to be there by 4 p.m.
So how many fish are going to be weighed in?
2.
I love that.
2 fish.
Heck yeah.
And they've got to be alive, and they do recommend live, which most of your catfish guys now that even fish tournaments do have live wells.
And what is the name of this? The name of this tournament is what?
He's got it as, I don't know if he put that on here or not. The Lake Hartwell Cat Chasers, along with Lake Hartwell Outdoor Center, are hosting. It's called the Black Friday Catfish Slam, November the 25th of this year.
The Lake Hartwell Catfish Slam.
Yeah.
I love it. I think this might end up being the SBC for the catfish industry.
That's kind of what they're shooting for. And,
I mean, you got, thank God Lake Hartwell Outdoor Center is stepping up and allowing them to have the weigh-in at their place of business because that's a cool spot.
Yeah.
And that's where everybody go. The Lake Hartwell Outdoor Center is heavily involved in the SBC. So, yeah, I can see this becoming. I can see Bass Pro stepping in and sponsoring this. I could see this becoming a big deal with Lake Hartwell Outdoor Center stepping up because they are the premier place to buy your bait around Lake Hartwell.
Yeah. All right. Now, this is for JC Crowder, and everybody that's friends with me probably knows JC. JC is in the National Guard. JC has done a lot for our veterans. He takes a lot of veterans fishing and don't charge them nothing. He takes a lot of his personal time that's actually away from his family to take veterans fishing. So he is going to be doing a tournament, and this is the first annual Stars and Stripes tournament. And it says the first annual Stars, and Keith Wood, I read that comment, and you can kiss my ass. This is the first annual Stars and Stripes tournament. The first annual Stars and Stripes tournament will take place on Lake Greenwood, November the 26th, 2022. Trailering is allowed, and lines in will be at 6:30 a.m., and teams must be checked in by 3 p.m. at Fish On Bait and Tackle. The scales will open early to accommodate a live weigh-in, the captain's dinner to follow along with the raffle. Menu will be announced on the Facebook page. Teams will weigh in 2 fish, 10% for dead fish penalty, a maximum of 1 dead fish per team. So I guess that's saying you're going to have to weigh at least 1 live fish in. If you've got 2 fish, 3 fish, whatever, one of them's going to have to be alive. It's a 2 fish minimum. There must be at least 1 veteran on each team, which I like that. And each veteran must be able to provide proof of service upon request. Registration can be completed online, and a link can be found on the event Facebook page via mail, inform also on Facebook page or at Fish On Bait and Tackle. Registration will end 2 weeks prior to event, which means you have to get registered before 2 weeks of the fish date. I'm taking that's what that means. Did I say that right, Keith? Registration can 80% of the entry fee will go back into winnings. 20% of the entry fee will be donated to Tackle 22 Fishing and to support their mission. For any other donations or sponsorship considerations, please contact the tournament director, and this is JC Crowder. JC's friends with me on Facebook, so you can look him up that way if you can't remember this number. But his number is area code 864-377-4492. And again, JC has been a friend of mine for about 8 years. He's a super good guy. And Pete, just for you to know, his job, he redoes all the electronics in airplanes. He's very smart, very intelligent. Do you know JC?
I don't know.
Look him up on Facebook. Good guy.
You mean you both are in the airplanes and y'all don't know each other?
I've taken notice of him smart mouthing at you. Don't worry.
Oh, okay. And for teams willing to be a host, a local veteran, please annotate, annotate, or registration form will annotate on registration form, or we will link a veteran to the team. We look forward to a great event and the opportunity to show support for our veteran community.
Now, what lake is that tournament on, Wes?
Lake Greenwood.
Greenwood. Okay.
Yeah. And, believe it or not, there's a lot of fish on Greenwood. There's still a few that Daniel Skipper hadn't killed yet.
Yeah.
Oh, old Skipper.
But that'll be a great tournament, and like I said, it's for veterans. Those guys, if it wasn't for them, wouldn't be able to do what we do.
You said that right. Amen to that.
But yeah, send JC a friend request, Pete. Y'all might have a lot in common. But he does all the electronics. I mean, I've seen some of his work in some airplanes, and that picture you put on Facebook the other day of the cockpit.
Yeah,
that's what he does. Really, and he's just a super good kid. So anyway, now
he does flying aeronautical stuff.
Yeah. So getting back to this, before I give y'all the floor again, Keith Wood.
Which I find terrifying, by the way.
Keith is a good guy, too. Keith has really helped me a lot, him and Pete both, with my saltwater expeditions. It just kills them when they give me all this information and I catch a shark. I think it's just killing them.
Yeah, it kills them. Hey, Wes, just so you know, I'm seeing reports. The wahoo bite's starting to fire off. Small fish, but they're biting. So,
really?
Yeah. You'll only get better here next few weeks.
Well, I'll tell you, I was going to go this weekend. JR had some stuff, so he's going to do his daughter's birthday this coming weekend, and I was going to go anyway. But my wife told me yesterday that the grandkids want to come this weekend, so you know what that means. I'm going to stay here and see my grandkids. Those fish will be there forever.
I think Christopher Hover said that Shad Shack is going to be producing some roto-molded tanks. Let's see. Where did I see that? Oh, never mind. He just said Shad Shack got the motor running. Oh, I don't know what that means. Shad Shack went out of business. Didn't Shad Shack go out of business, Wes?
When Chris Hovis makes a comment, nobody knows what the hell it means.
I mean, they went out of business, but he built a garage in his backyard. I thought he was getting ready to maybe fire it back up, but looks like he's focused on growing corn in his backyard. So I don't know. No comment.
But wait, I didn't hear you.
I'll hold back.
As soon as I mentioned Christopher Hovis, he immediately started ignoring me.
Oh no, I was trying to get the volume down on my phone.
He has no idea what I said.
I think Chris he had mentioned to me one time that he may start making a few tanks. Not really sure. I don't know what he's doing now. I sent a video out by accident in Messenger about 2 weeks ago. I didn't mean to hit it in a group text that had been on my Messenger forever. And actually, Jeff Peel's on here. Chris Hovis said he didn't want to see that garbage no more because it was a video catching a shark. So I tried to block him on Messenger so he wouldn't see it. And then I made another comment. He said, it didn't work. I'm still on here. I said, okay, I'll make sure you don't see shit no more. So I just blocked him on Facebook. So he's gone. So I don't know why I can see his name on here, but unless it's from your page. So why
did the welds break on the Shad Shacks? Somebody explain that to me. On the Shad Shack, unlike the super bait tank, the bait's on a 30-gallon, for example. The bait side was 30 gallons. On a super bait tank, a 30-gallon, the bait side was not 30 gallon. The filter side, everything combined was 30 gallon. So I don't know why there isn't standardization. I mean, super bait tank preceded Shad Shack. So why didn't Shad Shack go with the standardized, like what was standardized in the industry?
There's nothing standardized about welding plastic. Welding, I can weld. I can MIG and TIG weld. I can stick weld a little bit. I can weld galvanized pretty good. Ever do. I can weld stainless as good as anybody. But when it comes to welding aluminum, that's a totally different ballgame. And welding plastic's probably twice, 3 times as hard as it is to weld aluminum. It's just one of them things where you got to get that heat right, and if it's not exactly right, it's not going to hold.
So you're telling me, because Hovis, he stocked some brick and mortars. Like he got truckloads of inventory. You know, he produced a shitload of tanks, you know, and he did have some come back with broke welds. Now they got the reputation for having, you know, the welds not holding up. But I stopped by Shad Shack Industries, if you will, one day when he was out there. He was actually repairing a tank, and I won't say the brand name, but he was glassing it. And
you can go ahead and say the brand name. I want to hear it.
I asked him. I said, because when he was glassing it, and it looked fantastic. It looked great. I mean, it really added to the integrity of the tank. It made it look more heavy duty. It made it look more premier. It looked more premium. And I asked him, I was like, why don't you just do that to every tank? You know? And I guess, you know, it was the material, you know, the paying the labor cost of doing it. It just wasn't economically feasible to do it, I guess. But my thing is, though, is he said that he actually repairs every brand of welded tank he has repaired before. He said that Shad Shack just actually got stuck with the reputation for the busted welds on the, you know, where they separate the walls for the filtration side to separate it from the bait side. I don't know. I do like the design that Hovis come up with the Shad Shack, but yeah, I mean, you know, it's going to be hard to compete when you're not building tanks. So,
well, you know, I bought a Shad Shack. The first one I bought from Chris, yeah, it leaked. I had it for about maybe 3 or 4 months, used it a couple of times. And I will say this about Chris. You know, he's a little smart ass sometimes, make you want to kill him. But, you know, as far as business-wise, he took care of me. He did the right thing. I told him what was happening. I said, Chris, would it be okay? I'll give you $200. You just give me a new tank. Let me start over because I don't want nothing re-welded or whatever. He said, Wes, whatever you want to do. I brought him the tank back, gave $200. He gave me another tank. Believe it or not, I kept that tank over a year.
Wow, you got screwed. My buddy bought one.
I never had no issues with
it. He gave him a new tank, didn't charge him nothing.
Well, I offered that because I had used the tank. You know,
my buddy had used it too. Spivey got a brand new tank. He didn't have to pay a dime.
Well, maybe I got
Hovis needed some standardization on his return policy too.
Well, if he screwed me, I didn't feel it, so he used a lot of Vaseline. But yeah, you know, and there again, that's just a thing that those tanks, you know, Ron Vest tanks, he's had walls to leak. I've heard some males leaking. You know, Chris was just starting out and he had some leaks, and it's just, you know, it's one of them things where, and then like Chris said too, in his defense, when you're producing something like that, you know, then you've got 1 or 2 people that can start bad mouthing you on Facebook, and if they're friends with 1,000 people, and this person's friends with 1,000 people, it don't take long for that word to spread, and your name can get out there.
No, it don't. I mean, these tanks last forever. Whether they leak or not, they last forever. They're made out of friggin' high-grade polyethylene. They're not going anywhere. So, you know, Super Bait, Ron Vest's been making them for however long, 20, 30 years. I don't know. But I know I bought a Ron Vest back in 2008. So, I mean, and I bought it used, and he'd been making them for years at that point. And there was no Facebook. You know, I'm sure that the welds leak on the Ron Vest tanks as well, but you know, there was no Facebook back. I mean, I don't even think there was MySpace in 2008.
Well, how did we start? I thought we were talking about fish. How did we get on bait tanks?
I don't know. We're just fly by night, bro.
Oh,
yeah, just whatever.
You know what? What's your favorite? Let me finish there. My favorite fish, I guess, and I still want to
We're
catch.
talking about
probably,
tuna, and we got straight aside talking about bait
yeah,
tanks.
it's gonna be a wahoo probably. I mean, I want a wahoo. I think
Well,
when we go out
let's
on
be
that trip, we're
reasonable.
gonna be doing some sword fishing.
Let's be reasonable though. You can't target the wahoo once a week. I mean, you can't. I'm talking about if you were to switch species, like your primary species, like as many different species as Peter targets. I still look at Peter as a high. I'm sorry, Peter. I look at you as a hybrid fisherman on Lake Norman. I look at Peter as a striper fisherman, a hybrid fisherman. I look at Wes. Wes hasn't sunk. It hasn't sunk into me that Wes is purely saltwater now. I still look at Wes as a primary striper fisherman, whether it be saltwater or freshwater. So my thing is, though, I'm talking about something that's sustainable, guys. Like, of course, I mean, I would love to go after GT in Australia. It's not realistic. I'm talking about realistically. What could you target? Like, halfway affordable economically species.
I
What
say
would
Kings
it be?
because the main reason why Kings
Kings,
awesome
I can see.
because you can go on
Kings,
the beach and catch it. You can go out there 20 miles, 40 miles sometimes, but for me it's not exciting unless you are within sight of land, which is economical and it doesn't take much. Just throw a couple rods in the boat, cast net, go
right.
at it.
I agree. I mean, it would help if you lived closer to the coast, but
yeah.
Okay, Wes, give me a first of all, I want to hear Wes Rose's number one species right now. Like, what is your favorite species to target right now? And what could you see yourself maybe switching to one day that was, you can't say wahoo. Well, I mean, you have to go 100 miles offshore to catch the damn things. What's something that's more feasible?
I want to catch spinner sharks. That's probably one of the fastest, strongest, amazing fish to me. People
like
call
that.
it fish if they want to.
Yes, sir.
And then I guess my next one would be tuna or the mahi. Mahis are awesome. Dolphin they're amazing fish. They fight like hell. Their color, they're not really.
Both species that you named are saltwater. So are you done freshwater, or would your third pick be freshwater?
I don't see me fishing. I'm not saying I'm done with freshwater, but I'm probably not going to have my boat. The boat I've got now is damn sure not going in none of them rivers up there in Tennessee. I mean, I'm just not that mad at them. I've got a couple of friends that's offered me to use their boat if I want to come to Tennessee, go get their boat and go fishing. So,
Wes, hey, I just FYI, you're welcome to use my boat anytime, bro.
All right, I appreciate it.
Yeah, I
mean, what about you, JR? What would be what's yours?
At low RPMs, you have to push the key in the choke every 5 seconds.
Yeah, Todd Asher, you have to start his with a damn screwdriver and a jumper wire.
It'll start spitting and sputtering on you if you're below. If you're at idle, anything above idle speed, you're golden. You get down to idle speed, you might have to push the key in every 5 seconds.
Oh, you got a two-stroke.
It'll sneeze and she'll cut off on you. Yeah.
So what's your favorite fish to target? What would you?
Oh God, guys, this is going to be like a shocker to you, but my favorite fish to target is giant Arkansas blue catfish. Yeah, I mean that's the most badass, most apex predator, most it's just that's the epitome. It's the pinnacle. It's the climax. It doesn't get any better. Just some good old Sweetwater, muddy river, giant, over the shoulder, monster blue catfish.
Are you done yet? You done yet?
Give me some of that. Give me some of that any day. Second would be striper. Striper was my first love. If I had to go for my second favorite species, I would definitely revert back to striper. I could easily fall back into striper fishing. I could start hitting Tennessee if I wanted. I could start going to the Savannah River. I could start hitting the hybrids on Norman. I mean, I could go back stripes if I wanted to pretty easily. And I'm glad that I went through that marriage with the striper fishing, but I took that knowledge of striper fishing and I took it to catfishing. And I feel like I've brought something to the catfish industry that not anyone else has brought to the catfish industry. I think that I have I've probably influenced more people than I realize just from bringing that aspect of targeting catfish the way a striper fisherman would target stripers. And I'm not your typical cat fisherman, and that's what I like. That's what really draws me to it, is the fact that I am different than. That's why I'm new school fishing, because I feel like I'm bringing something new to that industry, and I can't wait to see what I catch next. Like, I mean, I plan on catching some monsters. There's going to be some monsters coming over the rail of my trophy and my kayak as well. I can't wait. I love catfish. I'm sorry that you guys haven't seen the how special catfish are, but it's coming. It's coming. You guys, it's eventually all those prestigious species, all that stuff. Eventually, you're going to see where that ain't nothing like that big fat catfish with that belly jiggling, and she's waiting on you, and she's close. She's close. You ain't got to drive to the beach. You ain't got to drive up in the mountains. You ain't got to hit I-40. You can go down to your local reservoir,
or you can go to any pay lake,
catch you some fresh panfish, and you can catch a trophy. The pay lake industry is a disgrace.
It is.
Yeah, it's blasphemous. I can't believe that it's allowed. I understand that catfish aren't a sport fish, but the only reason they're not a sport fish is because there's millions of them. They're dam to dam. They're everywhere. They're kind of like sharks. But when it comes to that specific genetic strain that you need to become a trophy, they're not as plentiful as one might think. And I think that with the advancements that we're making in biology, I think that marine biologists are starting to become more woke to the fact that every catfish isn't going to become a trophy catfish, and it's a huge industry. And you know as well as I do, it's all about that money. So when they find out that there's more money involved than what they might think, then there'll be some regulations on that pay lake, that trophy pay lake crap. I mean, we'll always have the pay lakes because of the industry, the farm. The farm raised catfish that'll never stop because of mainly because of restaurants. So that pay lake industry will be able to capitalize on that. But I don't see the trophy pay lake industry having a future. I think that eventually you'll see them fade out.
Well, I tell you, it does get me though how they claim that these catfish, how they thrive. They take them out of an impoundment that's 83, 85, 90,000 acre impoundment and put them in a pond that's less than 2 acres and say they thrive. That's bullshit.
Well, I had a couple of coworkers say that the other day, and voices were raised.
No, not with you.
Voices were raised that day, and it's ignorance. It's what gets ignorance doesn't piss me off. It's the willful ignorance. It's the, hey, I am willing to be ignorant just to try to match your tenacity. And man, I'll fucking whip your ass. Don't come at me with don't raise your voice with willful ignorance. That'll get your ass kicked. I'm not beyond whipping somebody's ass. I'm not that frou-frou yet in my life.
Well, I'll tell you, if I ever raise my voice at you and you whip my ass, you better hope you cripple me so I can get to a gun.
You're my brother. you motherfucker, you better not ever shoot me. I mean, I might grab a hold of you and squeeze you or something. I'm not gonna fight you.
Well, there again, and we just, targeting fish is just, like I said, I've just started saltwater. I mean, like really saltwater fishing this year. And I've still got a lot of learning to do. Like I was telling Pete, when I left Tennessee, and there again, I'm not saying this bragging, I felt like I was the big fish up there in a little pond. I could go up there and catch big fish. I'm not saying that bragging. I could.
Yeah.
Jeff Peel goes to Tennessee. He knows how to do it. He's fished up there for years. I was taught by some of the best striper fishermen in this industry how to go up there and catch big fish. I really
Wes,
wanted to learn
you know what
it.
I think the secret is? I mean, yes, it's got to, you got to know where to go, when to go, and all that stuff. But I think that one of the biggest factors on your success was the fact that you took it you took it a step. You went above and beyond when it come to your bait. You had I called it your little bait truck. You had the little Toyota truck. You would take off the. I'm not gonna like uh, drop pins, and I'm not gonna name drop and all that stuff. But you would go out of your way to make sure that you had the freshest, most premium bait that you could possibly get.
Yeah.
That, my friend, is why that is one of the biggest contributors to why you had so much success. You've got so many haters. You got so many haters because you got into the striper fishing sport, then you got into that trophy striper fishing niche, and those guys are like the bikers of the freshwater fishing industry. They're the bikers. They're the guys who are like, you walk into the bar, they all look at you. Yeah, you got into that niche and you whipped all their asses. Like you were just coming in like Bugs Bunny and slapping them. You're not.
Look, if you're good at anything, you'll always find haters along the way very quick.
Yeah, and I mean Wes came in and blew that industry up. Nobody was catching fish like Wes there for a short period of time. I mean, that guy was like, "What do I want to catch a big giant trophy striper on this week? I think I'll go buy me a Daiwa Saltist this week. Next week, I think I'll go buy a Shimano Torium and catch a big trophy striper on it. Then next week, I think I'll go do this and I'll go do that. And I hate ambassadors because they strip the gears out of a rocket or whatever." But yeah, that was Wes there for a minute, and yeah, he got his fair share of haters, but he got in there, he kicked some ass.
And like I said, though, and I felt like when I left Tennessee, I was kind of like a big fish in a small pond up there. It was like, and not to say, and I still went up there and got skunked. I still had my ass handed to me. And I don't care who you are, you'll get your ass handed to you in Tennessee. So don't think everybody. A lot of people's got this big thing where, oh, I'm going to go to Tennessee and catch a big striper. That's bullshit. You're not. The smartest thing you can ever do when you go to a fresh body of water is hire a damn guide. And anybody that says different, you're stupid. But anyway, so that now that I'm in salt water, now I feel like just a dot in the ocean because there's just so many different techniques. You got so many different fish. You got so many different ways to fish for even one fish. You got so many different lures, and it's not like you're just hooking a trout up or a gizzard shad and putting him behind a planer board and pulling him down a river, or just finding a good place to cut bait and throwing out an anchor or tying up to a stump and sitting up there waiting for a big fish to bite. Saltwater is totally different. I think it's a bigger challenge. There's just a lot more to it. And, like I said, Pete and Keith Wood has helped me tremendously. And there's a couple of guys down there that I kind of became friends with. It's helped me a little bit. But and there again, it's just a learning experience. And I'm not going to say I'll never go back to freshwater fishing. Here's what I miss about Tennessee. I miss the camaraderie up there more than I do the fishing. I miss the cutting up, and like Todd was talking on our way to Kentucky. Getting up, calling Anthony Johnson at 5 o'clock in the morning. Hey, where are you fishing at today? Hey, where's Dick Sucking Billy going to be at? Is he going to be at Melton Hill Dam? And then Anthony Johnson calling me back and said, "Hey, Billy Davis is going to be there right after you." He said, "Make out like you're having truck trouble and sit there on the ramp for about 10 or 15 minutes and piss him off. Just make out like your truck won't go in gear." And it's just a shit talking. And then after you fish, you go hang out with your friends, or we go back to the lodge, and it don't matter if you caught a fish or not. You cook out, you're sitting around, which I don't drink. Everybody's drinking a beer. A lot of people's tweeting, and it's the camaraderie of it. It ain't all about just catching.
Yeah.
That's what I miss about Tennessee now. I told my wife when I was driving up there the other day, it felt weird going to Tennessee or going through Tennessee on our way to Kentucky and not having a boat behind me. And then we're going over all these different bodies of water. And Todd, me and Todd had two-way radios just in case, because we wasn't going to have no signal once we got up into Kentucky. And, you know, we were talking on the radio and we went over this part of the Clinch River, this part, and this part, and this part. Todd said, now I put in this boat ramp right here, and then I put in this boat ramp right here, and we catch this here on the Powell and blah, blah, blah. I said, well, damn, you never mentioned that to me before. And he said, that's because you don't fish up here no more. So, but, you know, it's just stuff like that. That's what I miss about freshwater.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know, I you know how, I don't know where you guys are from, but I'm from Kings Mountain, and we had this little store there called Grandpa's Store. It opened up in the 80s, and it eventually they went out of business. They sold out to this. It eventually became Ray's Quick Stop. Then it became a series of other names. People would buy it, and it would become different names. But to us locals, it was always Grandpa's Store. And so I think that Wes Rose will always be a striper fisherman to everybody. Like, you're going to have to saltwater fish it for a long time to override what you've done in the striper world, bud.
Well, I tell you, you know, and fishing up there in Tennessee, Pete, I don't know how much you know about Tennessee, but I have pulled a boat in places and put in ramps that are literally dirt. I've put in the ramps where you've had to clean logs off the ramp or debris.
Well, you know, there's a lot of primitive ramps in South Carolina as well, Wes. Like on Clark Hill.
Nothing like up there. Nothing like up there. I mean, I went down. I pulled a boat. Todd had me go down the road. I pulled a boat down a dirt road for 6 miles, and we got down to that ramp. And I'm not going to say no names. We got down to that ramp, and we had to get out and clean logs and stuff off of the ramp. For, you know, water
that was with who?
Down.
Jeff Peel.
Todd.
Okay.
I mean, Todd took me to some places that you'd think, where in the hell are we going to put a boat in at here?
Wow.
And then when you get down there, it's like you have to go in a certain way back your boat and pull out a certain, because there's really no room to turn around.
Man, I want to go there. Let's go there.
And that's just
real fishermen. Me, you, and Peter. Let's go to the 6 mile dirt road moving logs place. Like,
sounds like a horror story.
Tell Todd to tell you when it's fire, and let's go there.
There's 3 places that Todd took me, and he made, and I've never told nobody about them. There's 3 places.
Keep talking. I'll be right back.
And I've never mentioned it. I've never said nothing on Facebook about it. And I'll never tell nobody unless he says, "Hey, I don't care if you tell such and such." We caught fish those 3 trips all 3 times. Our biggest one was 48 pounds, I think. But we caught fish every time. He just said, "Wes, I'm going to take you to these places." He said, "Just don't say nothing about it." So I've never said nothing about those 3 rounds.
So real skinny water all the way up there?
Oh, man, listen. East Tennessee, there's just so much water up there, Pete. And you know, and there's water up there that Todd Asher's never even fished. It's just unbelievable, the water system they have up there. You got so many little creeks off of these main rivers that those fish can go. And I think that's probably one thing that's really kept that striper population up there so good is those fish go where you can't even get with a jet boat or a John boat. Mm-hmm. You know, and the water quality up there, for the most part, even in the summertime, you know, when they're generating water, just say like there's certain parts of the river we fish that I know of, water's 62. Anywhere from 58 to 62 degrees on a 100-degree day outside. And it's like that for miles and miles and miles and miles and miles. You know, then you got Norris. And when Norris, I think, is one of the deeper lakes in East Tennessee. And when they're dumping water, I've seen the water temperature down below Norris on a 95-degree day, 54 degrees. You know, and at night, as soon as the sun starts to go down, it would be so foggy you literally can't see your hand in front of your face. And get down there in the mornings, you better have GPS and you better go slow and hope you don't hit a log or a tree floating in the water because you can't see nothing. I mean, Tennessee it's different. Have you ever fished up there?
Never have, no. I never have. But, you know, for me, I've always had a hard time driving Tennessee because drive 4 hours that way or drive 3.5 hours to the beach and catch my saltwater fish. So I've never really had the motivation to go to Tennessee to striper fish, whereas I can go to the beach and fish for everything else, you know?
Well, you know, it's kind of like Chesapeake Bay. Scott Perry always says it's just like, you know, throwing out eels in a wash tub. The Chesapeake Bay, if you don't know what you're doing, there again, you need to, It's all about technique. But for the most part, you know, the biggest thing in Chesapeake Bay, we always say, just follow the boats. If you see 10 or 12 boats pulling eels in an area, just get out there beside them. You'll catch a fish probably, you know, because they use radios.
I've gone to Chesapeake Bay twice to striper fish, back-to-back years. First year, you wore them out. The second year, I went out there and did my own thing. Caught a 57, 54, 51, 44. First four fish. Never been back since.
You know, and like I said, it may be the easy button, but it's the easy button if you know what you're doing.
It's not the easy button. People that say it's the easy button are haters.
But no, you know, it's kind of like me on my job. When I'm going to go install well, I got to go to Taylor's tomorrow. I'm going to go install a 3.5 ton gas pack Thursday morning. Is it going to be easy for me? Yes, because I've did it so long. You know what I'm saying? I know what I'm going to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's still not easy.
So it's not going to be hard, but if you send somebody that's been doing
it still work. I mean, then that's apples and oranges. Yeah. You're still talking about towing a boat, you know, up Black Mountain, up I-40, you know, through the friggin' mountains.
Chesapeake Bay. We'll talk about Chesapeake Bay.
Well, even Chesapeake Bay. I mean, you have to go through a toll. You have to pull your boat through a friggin' toll booth to get there. I mean, it's like you're entering a whole other world. You're traveling 6, 7, 8, pulling a boat 8 hours to go fish, and the windows. You know, you can't get out every day. I mean, even though it's a bay, it's still dangerous.
Hey, well, that bay though is some of the stoutest tide I've ever seen. I remember one day we're drifting like 7 miles an hour.
It can be very dangerous out there, and you have to know when to go. You know, you have to go, and you have to know how to navigate a boat. It's not the easy button at all, and you have to know how to fish it. And people that say it's the easy button, they're hating. And Scott Perry is one of the biggest haters. He calls it the fish bowl. You're pulling fish in a bowl, whatever. Now, Scott, you know, I have to give Scott props. Scott's one of the only guys that are actually catching fish locally, freshwater stripers, you know, sizable stripers. The guy loves it. The guy's extremely knowledgeable. Scott is a hell of a striper fisherman, and he's one of the only guys I know that catch fish locally on a somewhat regular basis. So he can talk crap. You know, it's one thing to talk crap. You know, you're more of a hater if you're a guy that talks crap, but you walk the walk. Like Scott Perry walks the walk, so he can talk all the crap he wants. But if you were to press him enough, he would admit that, yeah, it's not the easy button. It's not the easy button at all. You know, I mean, I used to go do it. I mean, yes, as far as catching, having an opportunity, the only thing easy about it is, that's actually the wrong phrasing, because the only thing easy about it is you're more likely to catch large fish if you go do it. But I mean, you can go fish the rocks in Australia for GT. That's the place to go. That's gonna increase your opportunity, your chances of catching a large GT. It doesn't mean it's the easy button. Just because it's going to give you a better chance of catching a big fish does not mean it's the easy button. You know, that's where people get confused. And Wes, don't let anybody downplay what you've done and what you continue to do in the striper industry, because it ain't the easy button. I mean, now going to the concrete's the easy. That's definitely the easy button. But the thing about the concrete is, you only got about one chance a year. Well, you can catch them. You can catch them 360. You got a chance 365 days a year of catching a trophy striper at any tail race. However, your best chance is once a year in the spring. If you hit it right, when the iron's hot, you got to be there. You can catch trophy striper. I'm talking 40 plus at the tail race. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. It happens all the time. But I'm just saying, if you were only going to go striper fishing in Tennessee half a dozen times a year, the springtime is going to be your best bet to go catch trophy striper at any of the within sight of concrete. But yeah, the concrete cowboy seems to be that's what everybody starts out with when they go to Tennessee. You know, they think that it's a big deal. They think that it takes a lot of skill and everything to get up there, and you throw up in those quote unquote boils, you know, when they're running the turbines, you know, and it is dangerous, and it does make you feel like a man to get up there and toss in between those bulls and keep your hair. You got to get the technique. Everybody's got their own little technique. Oh no, you got to have 3/8 ounce. Oh no, you free line. Oh no, 1.5 ounces. Oh no, you got to have spinning gear. Oh no, I use this. I use kale hooks. I use number 2 kale hooks. That's all you got to use. I use circle hook. You got to bounce to bottom. You got to do that. You got to drift. You got to all this. Oh bullshit. Go up there, catch your tail race fish, go home. It's not hard. It's everybody does it. It's what everybody cuts their teeth on when they go to Tennessee. It's all those other rivers. It's the spots on the Cumberland, the spots in Middle Tennessee, even East Tennessee that aren't within sight of concrete. Those are actually the ones that require your most skill. Not saying that tail race fishing doesn't require skill. I'm just saying it's more commercialized. It's a lot easier to learn. You can look at YouTube videos. You can become a tail race fisherman in a day.
Concrete fishing, you're fishing for quantity. If you want a quality fish, you don't even need to be looking at no CMAX.
Mm-hmm.
But there again, like I said, targeting fish is well in the ocean. Say me and Pete's gonna go this weekend. We're really hoping to catch wahoo. Just about all your bycatch in the ocean is still good. You're targeting wahoo, you catch mahi. You target mahi, you catch wahoo. You're targeting tuna. You're targeting mahi and catch tuna. You're targeting wahoo and you catch. Whatever you're bycatching. Most of the time, you're bycatching the ocean is still an awesome fish. So
still an awesome fish. Yeah, if you're going offshore, your bycatches are going to be awesome. Because
gonna be good.
Like amberjack's considered trash fish once you get out there, and amberjack's some of the best eating fish you'll ever eat.
You eat worms?
Yeah, if you're calling amberjack trash fish, then you are upper echelon. You are.
I thought AJ's were full of worms.
They are, but they normally have a little section that's pretty good.
No, you flick them out, man. I've eaten. I've eaten a lot of amberjack. Listen. I realize how good grouper is. I've eaten grouper that I've caught. I've eaten wahoo that I've caught. I've eaten yellowfin that I've caught. I've eaten gag grouper, strawberry grouper. I've caught all these fish and cooked them. I've seared them. I've fried them. I've pan fried them. I've fried them in grease. I've seared them, blackened them. I've eaten them all different ways. All fish that I've personally caught, and I know how good wahoo are. I know how good gag grouper are. I know that they're ranked up there. They're the Tom Brady and the Peyton Manning of fish. I realize that. Amberjack ain't far beneath them. I'm telling you, amberjack are good. God almighty, they're good. They're right up. They're up. They're not far beneath them, man. They're up there.
They're not bad. They really aren't that bad, but it's like anything else,
You flip them worms out,
and I'm not a huge fan of eating SpaghettiOs in my fish.
No, just get the worms out. Just get the worms out. They're not that many, and you get them out, and that's some of the best eating fish you'll ever eat.
Dude, but you want to eat something that's got parasites in it.
I think all fish have. If you go out in freaking December, you go 150 miles out in the Gulf Stream out of Hatteras in December, and you catch a 70-pound wahoo, and you put that meat under a periscope, there's going to be thousands or millions of parasites. All of them. Every fish on Earth is going to have parasites in them under a. I'm stepping in a hole here because I don't know, but I guarantee you, if you put them under a microscope,
it's full of fucking worms. I ain't eating it. I don't care what you look out.
There's living. I don't know. Would you rather eat living organisms that you can see, or
no? I'd rather eat something I can't see. If I'm gonna eat it, I don't want to see it.
That's right. Yeah.
Hell. But hey, I'll tell you, there's a guy told me a couple of years ago, you can take a carp and you can fillet him. And you soak him in buttermilk for a couple hours. And then you go out in the cow pasture and you get you some cow shit that's hard and crusty. And you mash it up in that buttermilk and you roll him and bread him. You bread that carp and roll him in it and deep fry him. And you eat the cow shit off the carp, throw the carp away.
No. Listen. I see what you're saying. You can make it. You sprinkle a little MSG on some cow shit, and it's going to taste great. I get it. You can make anything taste good.
Cow shit.
I get that. That's not what I'm saying when I'm talking about amberjack. I'm talking about amberjack being one of the top tier fish as far as like edible table fare. I'm talking about it's up there.
Really?
I mean, I rank striper pretty high. I rank it just below. It's like second tier below your wahoo and grouper and all
I
those
think
mahi
a
and
catfish
all
is better
those.
than
Striper is just like right there, even with or just below mahi as on the scale, in my opinion. And I think amberjack is right there with striper. It's. I'm not saying that you have to like bread it and do all this to make it taste good. No, I'm talking about knock the sides off that sumbitch, cook it however you want. It's going to be good. It's going to be delicacy.
I just always heard people didn't eat amberjack. They were parasites, full of worms. Throw them away. Don't even give them to your neighbor.
You know why they say that? I think that you got these when it comes to saltwater fishermen, they're very condescending. They're very frou-frou. They're very
Damn, Pete.
I'm better than you, you know. So the amberjacks tend to be a little easier to catch. Anything that's easier to catch, it's gonna get talk shit about. You know, it's perfect example, shark fishing. I mean, that's the epitome of easy to catch. And look what you're going through, Wes, with people talking shit about. Those guys are.
Well, let's back up. Let's back up. See, I'm not going through nothing because I don't give two fucks about what people like about what I do or don't do. And if they don't like it, just like Chris Ovis and Jeff Pill and the rest of them, Michael Ward, you don't have to look at my stuff. Just give me the word. I'll block you or unfriend me.
That's right.
It's funny because, people are going to talk shit about regardless
anything you
anything.
do.
Like, they'll talk shit about the way you fish for them as well. Like, for example.
If I went out there tomorrow and caught 3 wahoos, a 50, a 60, and a 70, and caught a boat full of goddamn dolphin and 26 amberjacks and 3 tarpon, somebody would say something about it. Somebody would have, so
I'm going to say what damn fish market you got to.
Yeah. So I don't fish to please nobody no more. I fish to please me. And if I'm not asking you for nothing, if you're not paying my bills, if you're not buying my hooks or my gas, you didn't buy my boat, you didn't get my fishing license, if you don't like what I fish for, and that's fine. I ain't got no problem with that. Just don't watch it. But for some reason or another, people have to watch it to talk shit. So I don't understand it. Why are they even watching it? Because you know what I'm catching. They just like talking shit.
That's right. People want to talk shit about the methods you fish, so on and so forth. Get example here as well. JR, you know how I fish for the hybrids on Lake Norman, right?
Yes, and I think
used
that's
to be the only person fishing that way for the longest time. All right, everyone talks shit about it. And now all of a sudden, everyone's doing it because they see how effective it is, And people still want to talk shit about it. But hey, that's
now
let's countless tournaments.
Go ahead and tell me what techniques you're talking about now.
Trolling lead core. Now, you're going to get the South Carolina boys talking shit, saying, "Oh, small fish," but you know what? It's what my area has to offer. Smaller fish.
Now, the lead core, does it get down on its own, or do you need to add a little something to it to make it the most effective, or does it have a lot to do with the speed in which you're trolling?
So I am very meticulous with what I do. I'm a calculated assassin, and so a lot of it has to do with speed and the colors out and the weight at the end. So I have a little formula that I use for myself. Every boat's a little different. It depends on, there's a lot of variables involved with it.
What's your most used artificial with lead core? I'm assuming you do artificial.
All artificial, yes.
So what's your most used? Would it be the Alabama rig? Or?
I have both Alabama rigs, which shocking enough, I don't use on lead core. I use that on my downriggers. And on my lead core, I use double shad rig.
A double shad rig?
There
like
are
shad wrap, like a
small diving? Little 3.5-inch plastic shad.
Does it have the bill, or is it like a floating minnow type?
It's a rubber 3.5-inch or
like
chartreuse
sassy
shad.
like a storm wild eye shad type.
Kind of, sort of, yeah. It's just this basically simple sassy shad.
But you're using a jig head and
correct,
a soft play. Okay, yeah.
Right. There are certain times of year in different lakes I will use bucktails also, but for the most part, Lake Norman.
When you're using the bucktails, are you putting trailers on them?
Yes, I am.
Curly tail grubs.
Yes, yeah.
So, Pete,
some lakes that's very effective. For example, Lake Watery. That is, I have found this year, and I hadn't told a lot of folks about it, but I've adjusted on Lake Watery to where I was using the bucktails on there, and I was smacking them 8-1 to live baiters. Trolling the fall with bucktails, and it made a huge difference.
Go ahead, Wes.
So, Pete, if you had to choose between hybrid and striper, what's your favorite?
I mean, to me, same thing, honestly.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite brand of the, you said you used the curly tail grubs on your bucktails.
Yeah, so I like the Striper Sniper brand.
Okay.
Yeah, they
I
make
never tried the Striper Sniper
they
brand.
make the worms and they make these sassy shad as well. And
I always like the Kalen. I've
like
always been a Kalen guy.
Really?
Kalen. I like the Kalens, and I've used the Mr. Twister, but I'll have to check out those Striper Snipers.
Yeah, he's mostly online only, and he's actually a local guy. He makes.
Yeah, I didn't know he was still in business.
Yep.
It's good to know.
Yeah. Yep, definitely.
Jeff Pill said the worms are in the bottom of the fish. He said if you clean them right, they are good.
He's talking about the amberjack.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm telling you guys. I mean, I used to love catching them because when I fished with my cousin, he wanted all the grouper, the yellowfin, the white. He wanted all those prestigious fish. He didn't want nothing to do with the amberjacks because of the whole stigma that they have with the worms and all. So I just remember I cleaned all the fish. I was the fish cleaning guy when me and my cousin went. And I remember just cleaning the amberjack, and I remember putting it to the side, and I remember keeping all the amberjack. And man, I'm telling you, it don't get a whole lot better than amberjack.
Now, what about Jack Crevalles? Are they good to eat, or is that just some people a sport?
I don't know. I haven't caught any Jack Crevalles, but they're in the same family as the amberjack, so I would imagine they're actually pretty good. I know that their cousin.
They're in the permit family, aren't they?
I have caught one, and I filleted it, and it is all blood red, the whole thing.
Is it like a little tiny? Is it that bad?
I thought they were in the permit family.
I think they're more the Jack family, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought I had a dang 40-pound king. Came out to be a dang 19-pound Jack.
Wow.
Well, let me ask you this: kingfishing. The first time I actually went kingfishing, of course, we went with Keith, and he was showing me how to set the drag, and he said, "You pinch your thumb and your forefinger together, and you should be able to pull the drag off." What's the big deal? I meant that it's a 5-pound catfish can scream drag if you're pulling it off with your finger and your thumb.
No, damn catfish is a wet damn dish rag. All right, he's not pulling no damn drag.
A 5-pound hybrid. A 5-pound hybrid, if that's the case, should be able to pull a kingfish backwards.
No, I think it doesn't have a lot to do with like how.
It has everything to do with how soft their mouths are. They got very soft mouth, and a lot of times they kind of swipe at the bait. So a lot of times you're foul hooking them. Now they swipe at the bait. If you got that drag pretty tight, that hook is not really getting stuck in them. You kind of want that fish to kind of bury the hook himself, if that makes sense, maybe. So he's going to grab it and make a few head shakes or run, and perhaps that hook's going to kind of go down his mouth or on the side of his head, under his throat possibly, and you're going to snag him.
All right.
You'll understand maybe a little more if you join me in the fall for this king bite. You might understand why the drag is so light when you see these bad boys skyrocket and slash the baits and everything. But then again, I got that text saying "fuck a kingfish" on my phone, so I'm gonna remember that.
But there again, let's go back to a spinner short. Seriously, what fish? Name me another fish in the ocean that can swim almost 60 miles an hour, and they do.
They're just not good eating. That's the thing, Wes.
When they hit, they run.
That
can jump 8 to 10 to 12 feet up in the air and not just shake their head. They turn complete circles. Name me one fish that can do that.
That's what's weird is you got your meat fishermen. Your meat fishermen in freshwater are just a bunch of uneducated, ignorant, redneck, just catch and release in the grease. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's going in the cooler. These guys they're most of the time they're fair weather fishermen. They go out there, they're using Zebcos. They're not your top of they're not 1%ers. But then you get your 1%ers, you get your guys that are sport fishermen, the guys that are your fly fishermen for trout, they're releasing them, your saltwater striper fishermen, they're releasing them, your freshwater trophy striper fishermen, they're releasing them. Everybody is, you look down upon, you're not even going to give anybody the time of day if you see 150 quart igloo on their boat. You're like, oh god, that's trash. They're trailer trash. Want nothing to do with them. But when it comes to saltwater, it's the opposite. When it comes to saltwater, it's all about the meat fishermen. That's how they label, like, if whatever is prestigious or not. Like if it's not highly edible table fare, if it's not, it doesn't rank up there, then they don't want anything to do with it. It doesn't have, it has nothing to do with the sport aspect, is what I'm getting at. I understand billfish, but everything else, nothing to do with the sport aspect. It's all about table fare. That's what I don't understand. Explain that to me, somebody.
Well, my take on saltwater is here's what I'm getting from it. This is my take on it. If it's not hard to catch, if you don't have to spend thousands of fucking dollars and go out 80 miles and travel 80 miles, if you don't have to do all this to catch a fish, you're not fishing. It's no good. But if you can catch the same fish, and then just like Pete said, you can catch spinner shark. I've caught spinner sharks in one y'all bait. You can see land all around you. Okay, so that means that I'm not doing this right, or I'm not that good a fisherman because I don't want to spend $700 or $800 to go offshore to catch a fish. It's not going to do what the spinner shark does. Nobody can explain that to me. Nobody has explained that to me yet. Nobody has told
because
me
it's obviously not about the sport. It's
exactly.
all about they're a bunch of meat fishermen.
I'm going to give you the answer right here, okay? It's like this, all right? These fish, these saltwater fish, for the most part, they fight to the death, okay? They really do. Your kings, your mackerel, they fight to the boat to the death practically, okay? Not only that, let's flip the script. Your grouper or snapper, you bring them up and they fight hard, and then they come to the top and they're done because of the depths, okay?
Yeah.
You're not releasing those fish alive. So, you're keeping these fish, you maybe want to release some of them, but you can't because they're already dead. All right. Number one. Oftentimes when you release some of these fish, like a king or maybe amberjack, whatever, oftentimes you might have 3 or 4 sharks circling the boat ready for them. So you release them and boom, that's that as well. Now, I'll say one thing about fall king fishing. The water is a lot cooler. Those fish survive a lot better. And the sharks normally that time of year are gone. So your release ratio is a lot better that time of year, no doubt. But a lot of these guys, fishing offshore, tuna, whatever, you get in the boat, they're about dead already. They fight so hard all the way to the gaff, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. But it's still, you're still meat fisherman. I mean, I understand, you're catching the fish like a tuna. I mean, even a little tiny, a bonita, false albacore, whatever the hell you want to call the damn things. Any fish with a fork tail out there in saltwater,
it's gonna swim his ass off.
You put it in the cooler, and you can hear it in the cooler like a machine gun. I mean, it's the amount of lactic acid it's probably building up is probably all of those are they're not going to make it. It doesn't matter how heavy a tackle you use. Like when it comes to like red drum fishing, and they guys, the catch and release guys, the conservationists, they want you to use the heavy tackle because they don't want they don't want a prolonged fight. They want you to get the fish to the boat. It's going to give it the best chance of surviving after release.
Well, do y'all know what fish? There's one fish in the ocean that's got the most testosterone.
Bull shark.
It's got twice the testosterone as a full-grown elephant.
It has more testosterone than any living creature on the planet.
I'd love to catch one. Are there any bull sharks off North Carolina coast?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I've always heard of them. I've never caught one.
I think I'm still trying.
Yeah. So, I mean, there again, like JR said, there's more shark species. There's more species of shark than any fish in the ocean. I think there's 400 and something if you count them all. I Googled it one night.
I mean, I think it's I think shark fishing you can make shark fishing great again. I think it has a lot to do with because nobody goes out targeting sharks. Very, very, very few people actually go out to target sharks. They're always a bycatch. Like catfish. Catfish are dam to dam. Anybody can catch them.
Well, yeah, they're
typically small. But if you go out and you target a specific species of shark,
and you catch
catch a trophy of that particular species, that's prestigious. That's good shit. I think anybody would like that.
That second shark we had on, I would bet that shark was well over 700 pounds easy. I mean, she was just the underwater video that you sent. I mean, she had a baby swimming with her, which we thought might have been a cobia, But that shark was huge, Pete. I mean, she was just. We seen her
She
twice,
was
about
big.
20
Yeah.
foot from the
The
boat.
footage I got didn't do it justice. That
Wow,
shark,
that shark,
was a heavy
it looked
shark.
like Jaws. Chris Brown looked back and he said, "We need a bigger boat." I was like, "Hell no, we need
Yeah,
bigger
and I
reel."
mean, there are sharks out there that could eat that shark. There are
Yeah,
sharks out there that, I like that the Frying Pan Tower has a live underwater camera. I don't know if you seen that, Pete?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, they have an underwater. That is awesome.
Yeah.
But on that underwater camera, as you guys know,
oh, I've seen hammerheads out there.
the
Big
bigger
blue
sharks they're not going to be coming up right on the tower.
Nope.
They stay out. They stay out on the fringes. And
So
you would be there are sharks out there on the fringes of the tower that would come in. The biggest shark that you're seeing on that live camera, there are sharks out there that could eat those.
I'm gonna tell you this. All right. So I am very known to jump in the ocean after a fishing trip, Gulf Stream, bottom fishing, you name it. Anywhere out there, it's like my ritual. I'll jump
like
in,
that.
not in the wintertime, but in
Yeah.
the summertime.
Yeah.
Spring, summer, fall.
I
I'll
do that.
jump
I do
in
that
and
too,
do the
Pete.
what's called a blue water cool down. Okay.
Hell yeah.
I
love it.
will not.
I've taken shits in the blue water.
I will not jump in if I see the tower at all.
Yeah. If you're within sight of the tower, don't be jumping in. It's like these guys that swim near piers. Man, get away from the. You're gonna get killed.
Yeah, a little story here. One time, me and some friends were actually at the tower, fishing all day, and we were done. We packed it up, washed the boat down prior to riding, and we jumped in, swam around, and some of us climbed the boat. The girl stayed behind, and one of us yelled, "Shark!" As a joke. And sure as shit, there's a bull shark bearing down on one of them. And so
Oh my
I have
God.
never seen people climbing the boat so damn quick. And I mean, this damn shark actually made a beeline. And we joke about it now, me and my friends, but we pulled the now X into the boat. And I mean, we literally got our foot out the water, and that dang shark came in and he actually hit the boat and swam off.
Wow.
Just like that.
Yeah.
After that day, I will not jump in the water anywhere near the tower. And when I
was
say near
watching
tower,
Shark
I was within 1 mile of tower.
Yeah.
I was watching Shark Week last week, and these bull sharks were they were hitting the motor. They were attacking the motors because the prop was barely turning the silver, and they're hitting it head on. And that one guy, he said, he's going to knock the transom out of the boat. Let's move. He's going to knock the transom out. I mean, this shark, listen, he was brutal.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
that's why I heard
if you
them
look
go-
at the National Geographic guy, I don't know. I'm sure you could pull it up on YouTube. There was a guy, a journalist for National Geographic, and he was standing in like knee deep or waist deep water with bull sharks, and they were filming like a documentary or whatever. And one of the bull sharks bit his calf muscle off, bit him on the leg, and they had to carry him out of the water. It was
Well, why was he doing? Listen, white
It was
people, we've been
disgusting.
doing some stupid shit.
yeah. I mean, I agree.
But
When it comes to sharks, like even your great whites, you've seen the videos of guys out in the blue water diving with them, petting them, grabbing them by their dorsals, swimming with them. They're for even tigers, great whites, even your biggest sharks out there, your most scary sharks, they're docile. If you can see them, you're good. It's the ones that when they see you, they're like, okay, I think he might be prey, and then they'll disappear and you won't see them. It's because they'll come at you with speed. If they're going to attack you, they're coming at you with speed, and there's not going to be a whole lot that you can do about it. That's why it's good when if you free dive. If you notice those guys that free dive out there for African pompano spearfishing at the tower, they always do it in tandem, so they can watch each other's back. They can warn one another if there's a shark coming in for an attack. But if you're seeing the sharks swimming in close proximity to you, you're good. Those are the sharks that you can reach out, you can touch, you can pet, or whatever.
What's the purpose of that? Do you get an adrenaline rush out of it, or do you say, "Oh fuck, I've just lost my leg. Damn, why did that shark bite me?"
I'm telling you, because if you get bit by a big shark, if he comes and he grabs you by
he's ripping something, you're losing something.
your extremities or your arms and legs. I mean, the good news is you're not going to feel it. He's going to go through you like butter. Like it's going to be quick, and all your nerve endings will be severed. You're not going to feel any pain.
JR, you got a way of getting shark bits sound pleasant.
You're gonna bleed out. You're gonna bleed out with a quickness, though. It's gonna be it actually wouldn't be that miserable of a death because you wouldn't feel any pain. The nerve endings would be severed, and you would bleed out extremely quick. And whenever you bleed out, all you do is fall asleep. So it would just be sweet dreams for the last time. Bye bye.
Well, like I said, I just like
be a hell of a way to go, man.
I want to take my wife out there. I don't know if you knew, Pete, but we were Tony Caton sent my wife one of the Big Cat Fever, the Hellcat heavy action rods. So we were going.
I have it.
That's the reason I bought that 5.0 or that Torium 50. And JR's got one, and we were wanting to get some video of actually my wife fighting a big shark, on one of the Peak Hellcat rods. So I don't know. I don't know if Tony and them's going to start trying to sell some saltwater stuff or maybe market some later.
Well,
that's our goal for
when it comes to the Hellcat,
we can't get out there yet.
The Hellcat can be, especially now that because I think that I don't know if they come out with that rod before, the Dodge come out with their Hellcat or whatever, but it was probably right around the same time. But that's. That Hellcat name doesn't necessarily, isn't like specific to catfish. So, you could, a lot of guys, they're actually going to be able to target the saltwater market with that Hellcat rod. I think you can anything, any big fish, that Hellcat rod is going to, you can market it toward, like, if you'll notice their promo videos, they have them, they're catching alligators with them. They're catching sturgeon with them. And we're going to go make a video catching a giant shark with them. So yeah, anything this big, anything that's got a set of nuts. Is,
hey Pete, you want to go with us?
Fall victim to the
shark fishing? Hell no.
Well, no. I mean, listen, that's the basic. I mean, we were going to plan on going out there trolling some, maybe a couple of miles from the tower. Trolling some macahoos and maybe some.
Go with us, Peter. We're gonna do a promo video for.
It depends because I got some plans of my own here that I got to keep kind of a secret, if you know what I mean.
Oh God! Here we go.
Here we go. Oh my goodness! Here we go. Juicy. I can't wait. I can't wait. We'll find out what it is.
When I went fishing with you, I didn't say, "Oh, Pete, I can't. I got some juicy ass plans that I'm trying to keep that I haven't told nobody about."
It must be pretty good. I mean, hey, going fishing, doing a promo video for the Hellcat rod is pretty awesome. So.
Let him do what he wants to do.
Hell, he's gonna do that anyway.
Let him do it. Let him do what he wants to. Just
when are you trying to do it?
Huh?
So when are you trying to do it?
Oh, I don't know. JR's gonna be tied up this weekend, maybe next weekend.
Maybe next weekend, maybe the next, if that works out better for you.
Weekends are tough for me, honestly, up until through September. I'm off all that time. But
okay, well, we'll
see.
Let's turn and burn. Let's turn and burn. Let's
go
on
I'll tell you this, a buddy of mine, Pete, I don't know if you know Josh Flynn. He's one of my friends on Facebook. Josh is a hell of a saltwater fisherman. He's one of those. He likes to go out 60, 70, or 80 miles.
Oh, yes. So me and him, we've been talking a lot here lately. So, yeah.
Yeah, Josh is good. Well, Josh called me today, and he said, Wes, I think he said Tuesday's his birthday. So I'm going to try to make this happen because my grandkids are coming this weekend. But he said Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. He said if I can get down there. And he said right now it looks great. He said we're going to try to go out about 80 miles, I think, and get into some really deep water. He wanted to do some high-speed trolling and some dropping off the ledge, whatever that means.
Yep. I talked to him today also. So, yeah.
Oh, you talked to John? Did he tell you what we was going to do?
Yeah. I think he talked to me before he talked to you, to be honest with you. So I feel a little more special.
Oh. Well, I'll have a talk with him. I'll have a talk with him.
You do that. No, me and him have been talking a long time. I've been talking to him for the last 6 months. His days don't work out, and I'm going, and he's going, and all that stuff. So.
Well, he invited me to go. So, and I'll tell you, here's how I met Josh. When I just started years ago, I was catching big fish on the tail race. And he brought Marcus Morton down there, and he called me. He said, I'm on my way down. Do you need anything? And I said, yeah. I said, I've just called about 7 or 8 striper, maybe 9 striper. Nothing under 25 pounds. I think my biggest one was like 32 or 33. And I said, listen, I don't want to leave these fish. I said, I'm out of bait. He said, really? I said, yeah. I said, where you at? He said, I'm fixing to pull into Lake Cartwell Outdoor Center. I said, good, grab me 6 trout while you're in there. So he grabbed me 6 trout. He come down there to the boat, and Brett gave me my bait, and I caught 6 more fish with those 6 trout. But anyway, and that's actually kind of how I met Josh, and we've been friends ever since. But yeah, he called me, invited me to go out. So if everything works out right and I can get all my work caught up, I'm gonna probably go down there maybe late Sunday night and we're going out early Monday morning.
So I'm actually going to be down there already Friday through that Wednesday. Actually, a little vacation there, some friends. But
you are?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Are you going out with us?
That's the plan. Maybe.
Oh really? I
might be doing my own deep dropping, possibly on my boat. So we'll see.
Oh, you're gonna follow us out there?
No. I'm going to go my separate way, possibly, because I might have.
You can go your own way.
I might have gathered a crew before he talked to me, to be quite honest.
Oh, okay. So you may go with us, or you may go do your own thing.
Correct. Yeah.
All right. Well, go do your own thing. I want to have more room on the boat.
She's got a smile that seems
You'll
to
enjoy
me.
Josh. He's a good guy. He's great to fish with. I've fished with him before. He's awesome.
Well, guys, hey, it's been an hour and a half. Are you content?
Yeah, I gotta wake up early, so yeah, I'm done.
Peter's got to wake up early.
Yeah,
I got to get up at 4:30.
Before we go,
tomorrow.
I put a stew on, and I didn't do it till 1 o'clock today. You know, put some roasted potatoes and stuff in the crock pot. And I've had that bitch on high, and it's just now starting to get done. I told Lori, I said, well, can we wait till after the show to eat? And then I said, when you just said it's time to go, I said, see this baby, he's ready to go. She said, let him go. I'm hungry as hell.
All right. Well, good night, guys. It's been a good show. Good night, Lori. Y'all enjoy that stew, and we will see you next week on Real Fisherman.
All right, buddy. Good night. Pete, I'll holler at you later, buddy.
Yes, sir. Take care.
All right. Good night, buds.